Hi everyone, I hope all is well. This week's Parsha is Parshat Pinchas. And the very first aliyah in this week's Parsha, there's something very rare that comes up. If you look in the Torah itself, you'll see that a verse starts, Vayiyah achrei ha'magifa, and it was after the plague ended, comma, for all intents and purposes, at Nachta. Then there's a break. There's a break in the Torah. It goes to the next line, in the middle of a pasuk, in the middle of a verse. So what's happening here? This only happens two other times that I could think of in the Torah. One being where Cain kills Hevel, where Cain kills Abel. And the second time is, we don't really know what happened, it's brought down in the Gemara, but where Ruvain sleeps with Bilhah, his Leah's maidservant. Right? So those are episodes within itself, but the question we're asking is, why do we have this break in the Torah here in Parshat Pinchas? So to really dive into it, we have to talk about this plague that ended. What happened? What was this plague? So what was happening? The Jewish men were marrying Moabite and Midianite women, which is not allowed. And to end, and a lot of people were dying. It really wasn't good. And Pinchas comes to end this episode, and he spears Cosby and Zimri, and the plague ends. Now, it's something to look into. There's a lot that goes on there too. A lot of action. But why do we have this break? So I heard a beautiful take on this by Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, and he says the following: you really don't have to think much about the break, because the break represents a break, a time where you're momentarily silent, right? It's a comma there, right? After you read a comma, you take a little pause for a second. Now, why is the pause there? It's for you to really look and really understand and have retrospectively, like, look at what you just saw, what you just said, what you just heard. That's why the pause is there. So Rabbi Jonathan Sachs really points out the message that all of these breaks are for us to digest what just happened. There was so much meaning in all of these episodes, all these intricacies that are really difficult to understand. So therefore, the breaks are for us to digest. Now, I really think it's appropriate to bring this message today on the 17th of Tammuz, Shivasar b'Tammuz, because it's a date where historically so much happened. On the 17th of Tammuz, it was in tradition we say it was the day where Moshe broke the tablets, right? It was the day where they stopped giving regular sacrifices in the Beit HaMikdash, right? It's the beginning of the end, for basically, and where the walls of Jerusalem were breached leading up to Tisha B'Av in just 3 weeks, where the Beit HaMikdash gets destroyed. So there's so much happens that starts on today, on Shivasar b'Tammuz. So the message I want to really give over this week, and the bracha I'll give to everyone, is that we really take a break during these 3 weeks starting today, and we really digest what has happened and how to bring that into the future. Something to note is, after all these pauses is always a mention of a lineage or some kind of census, to really show that even though we have all this action, all this crazy stuff happening around us, the show has to carry on. We still have to keep going. And with that, I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom.